In this video, I'll show you how to create a beautiful pendant swing animation. We'll set it up step by step in Blender and then bring it to life with rendering in iJewel Playground. First, open your Blender file with a chain. If you don't have a chain model, no problem, we'll provide 2 chains for you, and you'll find the download link in the description. Just open one of them in Blender. Now let's bring in our pendant. Import the pendant model and move it into place, right where it should connect to the chain. If it looks too big or too small, just press S to scale it until it fits nicely. And remember the golden rule in Blender: G to move, S to scale, and R to rotate. To prepare the animation, we need an empty object. Press Shift and A, choose Empty, and then Plane Axis. Scale it up or down so it matches the pendant. After that, apply the scale by pressing Ctrl and A and selecting Apply Scale. This step is important to avoid any strange issues later. Next, select your pendant mesh, then hold Shift and select the empty last so that the empty is highlighted in yellow. Press Ctrl and P, choose Set Parent to Object, keep Transform. Finally, rename the empty to Pendant so you'll always know what it is. Now the pendant is attached to the empty, and we'll animate only the empty. At the bottom of Blender, expand the timeline so you can clearly see the frames. To make the swing more precise, switch to side view using the axis controls at the top right. Now let's set our first keyframe. Move the playhead to frame 1. Important note, after moving the playhead, make sure to bring your mouse back into the 3D viewport before pressing the I key. With the empty selected, press I and choose Rotation. That's our first keyframe. Move to frame 10 and rotate the pendant slightly, for example -4 degrees, then insert a keyframe for rotation. You can rotate directly in the viewport by pressing the R key, but in this tutorial I'll use the rotation values on the right panel, since that allows for more precise control. Both ways work, so you can choose whichever feels more comfortable. Continue like this, reducing the angle each time, -2 + 2, -1 + 1, -0.5 + 0.5, until the pendant comes back to 0. At frame 180, add one more keyframe at 0, so the pendant rests still before looping. This makes the swing look more natural. Since Blender sets the end frame to 250 by default, I reduce it to 180, so the animation ends exactly where I finished the keyframes. Press the space bar to preview the animation. If it looks too fast, spread the keyframes further apart. If it's too slow, move them closer together. Before we export, let's fix the materials. If you want the pendant and the chain to share the same metal, select the pendant material and press Shift and L to select all link materials. Then hold Shift, select the chain, and press Ctrl and L to link the materials together. Now both the pendant and the chain use the same material. Finally, rename your gem to Gem01 to keep everything tidy. When everything looks good, go to File, choose Export, and select glTF. Make sure the animation box is checked, enable compression, and then export the file. Now open iJewel Playground and upload your model. When the pop-up asks about applying default materials, just confirm. Then another pop-up will appear for separate HDRIs, and here I also press Yes. Finally, you'll see a third pop-up asking if you want to enable the configurator. In my case, I choose No because I won't be using it. But you can press Yes if you want a configurator to automatically create 3 default options. For better quality, increase the render scale in Viewer Renderer to 2. Next, I choose a different HDRI map for this pendant to make the lighting look better. When you add the pendant, you'll notice that by default it's stuck to the ground. To fix this, go into the scene settings and open the ground options. Here you can slightly increase the height value to move the pendant up, or simply disable the ground visibility altogether. This way the pendant is floating naturally and not clipped into the floor. On the left panel, I also changed the background. I set it to black so it's easier to see how the model is moving. Then, in the right toolbar, click glTF Animation, and your pendant starts swinging. In the Animation tab, you can adjust the speed, enable autoplay, or even trigger the animation on drag or scroll. For the rotation to look smooth and natural, the pendant needs to be perfectly centered in the scene. To do this, we use the option Fit Object to Scene. First, make sure the pendant is selected. If the pendant is made of many parts, go to the Picking tab and select the empty object that we created and named Pendant. You'll find it in the hierarchy. This way, the entire pendant is highlighted as one, and you can center it correctly. Now, when you rotate it in the viewer, the motion will look clean and balanced. Finally, let's add a few camera views. I go back into the glTF animation panel and press Reset Animation. This way, the pendant returns to its original starting position. Rotate the model until you find an angle you like, then add the first camera position. Rotate the model again to a different side and add the second position. You can add more if you want different perspectives. Once you have them, enable loop so the camera cycles between your saved views. If the switching feels too fast, just increase the duration value. I usually set it to the maximum 10,000, so the transitions are slower and more natural. Now the camera views and the pendant animation play nicely together, giving you both smooth motion and dynamic angles. When you're ready, go to Export and choose Video Export. Select Record Camera Views with the glTF animation and start the render. The speed of the rendering will depend on your computer, so you'll need to wait a little. Make sure not to close the tab during the process. Sometimes you may need to adjust the settings for camera views, duration, or even the animation speed to get the result exactly how you want it. Once the render is finished, you'll have a professional pendant swing animation ready to showcase.